In this video, we'll be talking briefly about systematics and later we'll move on to the classification of the animal kingdom. And speaking about animal kingdom, it includes all animals of our world as we know, and animals form one of the major group of living beings. And speaking about animals, their characters include that they have a cellular level of organization because their bodies are made of different cells, and each cell is a eukaryotic cell, and they are all heterotrophic. Animals are heterotrophic because they depend on other animals or organisms for their food. There are about a few millions of living species of animals. Species is a looking into the hierarchy of classification, the hierarchy starts with kingdom. Kingdom is the highest rank in a hierarchy of classification. So, kingdom is divided into different phyla, and phylum is the singular and phyla denotes plural, and under each phylum there comes different classes, and under each class several orders belong comes under each class, and under each order there are different families, and under each family there are different genuses, and under each genus there are different species. So this is the order or the ranking in the hierarchy of classification. And animal kingdom, speaking about animal kingdom, that is also known as kingdom animalia, it is divided into different major phyla as well as different minor phyla. The major phyla includes different phyla, that is Porifera, Coelenterata, phylum Platyhelminthes, phylum Aschelminthes, phylum Arthropoda, phylum Mollusca, phylum Echinodermata, and phylum Chordata. On the other hand, there are different minor phyla that comes under kingdom Animalia that include phylum Ctenophora, phylum Phoronida, phylum Ectoprocta, phylum Chaetognatha, Endoprocta, Brachiopoda, Sipunculoidea, and Hemichordata. So all these phyla come under minor phyla. You will have to focus on the major phyla most probably. And all non-animals, they belong to one or another of the above said phyla, which we'll be seeing in detail. And classifying an animal is done on the basis of similarity of morphological features, anatomical structures, evolutionary relationships, and also on the basis of environmental considerations. So let's see what are the different criteria that are used to classify animals, or the different criteria which decide whether one particular organism belong to this particular phyla and the other organism belong to another phyla. So we can learn about the different criteria that is used to classify animal, or decide if this particular animal comes under this particular phyla. So let's look into that details. First is the pattern of body plan. So whether the body of organism is a cell aggregate or a blind sac like or tubular or a tube within a tube. So first is by looking the body plan of the animal. If the animal's body is made of simply cell aggregation, or if it is a blind sac or a tube within a tube like body plan. And the next is about the germ layer condition. That is, if the organism is triploblastic or diploblastic. In triploblastic organism, we know that the organism consists, or the body is formed of three germ layers, and in diploblastic, the organism's body is made up of two germ layers. That is the three germ layers we have discussed earlier. That is endoderm, mesoderm, and ectoderm. Then next is whether the body is segmented or non-segmented. The segmented body can be found in, for example, the earthworm. Earthworm's body is divided into different segments, as you know. So such type of body plan is known as a segmented body. And if in case of a worm, the body is just a tube without any segmentation. Such body type is known as non-segmented. Then the next is presence or absence of a digestive system. In case of simpler organisms like platyhelminthes or flatworms, they absorb nutrient through their body surface because they are very thin and cellular. So the nutrients, they derive their nutrients from the host. Mainly they are parasites. Phylum Platyhelminthes, they consist of mainly of parasites. So what they do is they do not have a digestive system. Since they are parasites, they do not require a digestive system. uh, so what they do is they absorb nutrient from the host body through simple diffusion. So they do not need a digestive system. So digestive system will be absent in such animals. So the presence or absence of digestive system is also a criteria to classify an organism into a particular phyla. Next is a type of symmetry. We have seen what symmetry is in the earlier semester. So symmetry is also taken into account while classifying organism. Symmetry is also looked upon whether the organism possesses symmetry or not. If the organism does not possess a symmetry, such type of symmetry is known as, or body plan is known as an asymmetrical body plan. So if the animal possesses different type of symmetry, that is bilateral, we have seen it, bilateral or radial, biradial, there are different types of symmetry. So symmetry is also a criteria which is used to classify organism into particular phyla. Then next is the presence or absence of appendages. What do you mean by appendages? In case of insect, if you look into an insect, we can see insect has legs, wings, antenna. They are all appendages which are joined to the body. And in case of worms or earthworm, it does not have any appendages, right? But if in the case of arthropod, they have different appendages. So the presence or absence of appendage is also looked upon while classifying an animal into a phyla. Then next is jointed or non-jointed appendages. If the animal possesses appendage, the character of the appendage is also looked upon, whether the appendage is joint or non-joint. In case of arthropods like insects, what happens is that if you look into their appendage, it has certain joints like our fingers. Our fingers have many joints, right? If we take into account of our index finger, it is made up of three joints. So if the appendage of that organism is jointed, many jointed appendage, or if the appendage is not a jointed appendage or it's a simple tube like structure, that appendage is known as non-jointed. And if the appendage is segmented, it is known as jointed appendage. Then type of skeleton is also another criteria. We know that there are two types of skeleton. One is endoskeleton and the next is exoskeleton. In case of endoskeleton, the skeleton will be present inside our body. In case of us, the human being, we have a skeleton, we have a bony skeleton, but can we see that skeleton outside? No, the skeleton is placed within the body. So such type of skeleton is known as endoskeleton. And in case of arthropods, like insects, prawn, etc., you can see that there is a shield or protective covering around their body. That is their skeleton. So such type of skeleton is known as exoskeleton. And if the skeleton cannot be seen outside, it is known as endoskeleton. So the type of skeleton is also another criteria for classifying animal into particular phylum. Then presence or absence of a notochord. We know that notochord is a characteristic feature of animals together known as chordates. We are also chordates because we have notochord, which in later life develops into the spinal cord and vertebral column. So the notochord develops into vertebral column, and the spinal cord passes inside the vertebral column. So, a presence of notochord or absence of notochord is also another criteria for classifying organism into particular phyla. If they have a notochord, they are put into phylum Chordata. Then next is the presence or absence of a coelom. We have seen what coelom is. Coelom is known as body cavity that is lined by epithelial tissue, right? It is the cavity between the body wall and the gut of an organism. So if coelom is present, that animal is a coelomate. If coelom is absent, that animal is an acoelomate animal. So animals are looked for their coelom to classify it into different phyla. Then closed or open circulatory system. Circulatory system is the vascular system or the blood carrying system. In the case of higher animals like us, we have a closed circulatory system because our blood flows through specialized capillaries and blood vessels. So such type of circulatory system is known as a closed circulatory system. Our blood does not come into direct contact with our organs. Instead, the organs are supplied blood with specialized blood vessels. So such system is known as a closed system. In case of open system, the internal organs are directly bathed in the blood. In case of cockroach like arthropods, what happens is that they have their blood that is known as hemolymph, and all their organs are directly immersed in the hemolymph that is present inside their body. Such type of circulatory system is known as open circulatory system. So the characteristic feature of the circulatory system is also a criteria for classification into different phyla. Next is homology or structural similarity of organs. You might have heard of homologous organs and analogous organs. If a set of animals possess homologous organ, uh, they are likely to be members of the same phyla. If they have dissimilar organ plan or organ structures, they are less likely to be included in the same phyla. What do you mean by homologous organ? A familiar example is a forelimb of different vertebrates or mammals. Like you might have studied in your higher secondary classes about the homologous organs, like forelimb of tiger, forelimb of whale, forelimb of other animals like rabbit, dog, etc. All of them have a similar structure in their skeleton. So they all form homologous organs. And what was the example that you've studied in case of analogous organ? It is about the wings of butterflies and birds. Both are wings, but they differ drastically when it comes to their anatomy and also function. So such type of organ is known as analogous organ. But if an animal is classified into different animals are classified into a single phyla, they are most likely to have homologous organ. So these are the criteria we look into while classifying organism to a particular phyla. And also you might have studied about protozoans in or protist kingdom protista that you have studied in your last semester. Protozoans are the earliest of all animals, and we know that they differ from all other animals in having a single cell in their body. Hence all protozoans can be brought under one group, that is kingdom protista. Then metazoa. You have heard about metazoa. Metazoa and kingdom protista is another classification criteria, or it's another form of classification. Then according to another group of scientists or another school of thought, um, on the status of these two major group, one school consider protozoa and metazoa as the two subkingdom of animal kingdom, and there is another school that consider them as two separate kingdom, that is kingdom protista and kingdom animalia. Then let's see in detail about the kingdom animalia classification. So systematics, we have been talking about systematics a lot. So systematics includes not only identification and classification of organism, but also the comparative study of all characteristics of a species, as well as an interpretation of the role of lower and the higher taxa in the economy of nature and in evolutionary history. So many branches of biology depend entirely on systematics, and this include biogeography, cytogenetics, biological oceanography, stratigraphy, which you will be dealing in detail in later subjects. And so let's talk about kingdom Animalia. So kingdom Animalia is generally classified as non-chordate and chordate. As I've told you, all organisms without a notochord comes under a broad group which are collectively known as non-chordate, and all the invertebrate phyla fall under the non-chordate group. And the next group is chordate, under which all the notochord possessing animal belong. So phylum Chordata belong, or they are collectively known as chordates, and all the invertebrate which do not have notochord, they are known as non-chordate. Then also, let's see the classification of kingdom Animalia. Kingdom Animalia include three branches. One is Mesozoa, then Parazoa, and Eumetazoa. So these three are the divisions of kingdom Animalia. Mesozoa includes earliest and most primitive of metazoan animals, and only a single phylum, that is phylum Orthonectida. That phylum comes under the group Mesozoa. Then next is phylum. Next is the division Parazoa. Phylum Placozoa and phylum Porifera comes under Parazoa, and all other phyla are included in a third group, that is Eumetazoa or the true Metazoa. So this is the outline classification of kingdom Animalia. Remember that kingdom Animalia is divided into three divisions: Mesozoa, Parazoa, and Eumetazoa. Mesozoa is divided, or Mesozoa consists only of a single phylum, that is phylum Orthonectida, while Parazoa includes two phyla, that is phylum Placozoa and phylum Porifera. The next division of kingdom Animalia is Eumetazoa, which include all other phyla. Then let's see each of these division in detail.